Many grew up believing that being gifted is a winning ticket to a life of ease, impeccable grades, and constant recognition. However, from the avatar's perspective, the reality of giftedness is often silent, contradictory, and frequently mistaken for failure or a burden. Psychology reveals that most genuinely gifted people never realize their own nature because the world tries to label their intensity as imbalance and their restlessness as a lack of focus. Being gifted is not about what you do, but about how your being processes existence on a frequency most cannot tune into. Today, we will remove the veil of appearances and explore the 7 signs that you possess a natural gift, a soul constitution that places you on a journey of mastery you may not have yet claimed. The first sign that you are naturally gifted manifests as a soul thirst, a tireless curiosity that goes far beyond the common desire to learn. The avatar observes a fundamental distinction. While the brilliant student strives to answer the questions asked of them, the gifted individual is one who cannot stop formulating questions no one else dares to ask. For you, life's standard curriculum seems shallow and insufficient. You feel a visceral need to understand the nuances, complexities, and the whys behind every concept. This hunger for knowledge is so voracious that repetition becomes unbearable. A task that satisfies others seems empty to you, as your mind has already processed the logic and desperately seeks the next challenge. This restlessness is not a lack of discipline. It is the roar of an intelligence that refuses to be domesticated by mediocrity. Accompanying this intellectual hunger is the second sign, high volume, or what psychology defines as emotional overexcitability. Being gifted means living with your sensitivity switch locked at maximum. You don't feel things lightly. For your being, joy is an overwhelming euphoria, and sadness can feel like a crushing weight. The avatar understands that this intensity is proof of a more refined neural constitution, capable of perceiving and reacting to the world with a voltage most people couldn't withstand. You possess extraordinary empathy and intuition, picking up on vibrations and tensions in the environment that others ignore. The world may try to convince you that you are too sensitive or too intense, but the truth is that this emotional depth is the fuel needed for great creativity and true wisdom. What others call a burden, the avatar's perspective recognizes as the pulsation of a soul that experiences life in its most vivid and real form. The third sign that reveals your gifted nature is your ability to act as the pattern architect. While most people process reality linearly, moving from one point to another in a straight line, your mind operates like a high-voltage neural network. You possess what psychology and neuroscience call associative thinking, the rare ability to build solid bridges between ideas that seem completely disconnected to the common observer. For the avatar, this is not just a technical competence, but the ability to read the hidden language of existence. You synthesize original connections from what others call chaos, identifying links in behaviors, scientific concepts, or social trends that most ignore. Where the world sees only noise and random events, your brain acts as a code deciphering machine, seeing a symphony in the making. This ability to connect the dots is the driving force behind all human innovation, and is one of the most precise markers that your intelligence is not just high, but qualitatively different. Accompanying this profound vision is the fourth sign, obsessive focus, or the mind that refuses to abandon an intellectual prey. For a gifted soul, when a problem, a mystery, or a new idea captures your attention, it ceases to be just a thought and becomes a constant presence. You don't just analyze the issue, you inhabit it. This intensity causes your mind to work tirelessly, turning the problem over, looking for flaws, and seeking absolute truth, even during the silence of the night or while you sleep. This obsessive pursuit is not a weakness or an uncontrolled compulsion. It is your brain refusing to leave things half-resolved. When something truly matters to your being, you dive so deeply that the notion of time and the outside world simply cease to exist. While others give up at the first barrier, you use this focused energy to traverse territories most consider impossible to navigate. The Avatar teaches that this focus is not just hard work. It is the manifestation of a spirit that demands excellence and clarity as oxygen for its own survival. The fifth sign of your extraordinary nature lies in what the Avatar calls the sanctuary of imagination. For the common individual, imagination is just an occasional tool for daydreaming. For you, it is a parallel dimension, as vast and detailed as physical reality itself. The psychology of giftedness reveals that naturally gifted people possess an incredibly rich inner life, which often begins in childhood with imaginary friends and evolves, in adulthood, into the ability to simulate entire universes of thought and creativity. This internal world is not an escape from reality, but the foundation where your deepest ideas are forged. It is common for this imaginative intensity to manifest through vivid, complex, and sometimes bizarre dreams that leave a profound mark on your state of mind upon waking. Your brain refuses to shut down, continuing to synthesize concepts and explore narrative and aesthetic possibilities while the rest of the world sleeps. From the Avatar's perspective, this sanctuary is the sacred laboratory where your genius is nurtured, allowing you to see beauty and meaning where others see only emptiness. Having an intense imagination means you are never truly alone, for your own mind is an inexhaustible source of exploration and discovery. From this internal richness arises the sixth sign, the pursuit of the invisible standard, often mistaken for simple perfectionism. The Avatar understands that, for the gifted being, the pursuit of excellence does not stem from vanity or a desire for approval, but from a clear vision of possibilities that others simply cannot detect. Psychology refers to this as maladaptive perfectionism, a tendency to set immensely high standards that, if not managed wisely, can lead to burnout and constant frustration. You do not seek perfection to show off. You pursue it because your mind sees the maximum potential of every work, every project, and every idea. For you, a work that others consider perfect may seem unfinished or flawed, simply because it has not yet reached the invisible standard your intelligence has projected. This extreme dedication and meticulous attention to detail are the engines that push you towards greatness, but they can also become a source of severe self-criticism. The Avatar's advice is to learn to honor this instinct for excellence without allowing it to enslave you. Understand that your ability to see what can be improved is proof of your superior vision, but true mastery lies in knowing when the work is ready to be delivered to the world, allowing the light of your intention to shine through human imperfections. We now come to the sign that is perhaps the most difficult to bear, but also the most revealing of your nature, the feeling of being a foreigner in your own group. The Avatar observes that even when surrounded by friends, family, or colleagues, there is a persistent feeling of not fitting in, as if you spoke a language no one else fully masters. This feeling of not belonging is not a flaw in your social skills, nor is it evidence that something is wrong with you. On the contrary, it is the natural isolation of the wise, the inevitable result of possessing a brain that operates on a frequency of depth and abstraction that most people don't even realize exists. You may laugh at the same jokes and participate in the same rituals, but a part of your being always remains a little on the sidelines, observing the architecture of interaction instead of just getting lost in it. This distance is, in fact, your high-resolution radar at work, picking up on inconsistencies and layers of meaning that escape the masses. Understand that being a foreigner is the price of having a vision that reaches horizons others have not yet discovered. The final truth the Avatar brings you is that being naturally gifted is rarely felt as a glorious gift. Most often, it manifests as restlessness, extreme sensitivity, and a constant feeling that the world is too shallow for your thirst for truth. However, all these struggles and contradictions that the world tried to label as failures are irrefutable proof that your mind works in extraordinary ways. You are not too much. You simply possess a soul constitution that requires its own ecology to flourish. Do not try to dim your light to fit the vision of those who prefer to live in twilight. Honor your intensity, protect your inner sanctuary, and accept that your journey of mastery will be solitary only until you find others who speak your language. In a world designed for conformity, your courage to remain authentic to your own complexity is the most intelligent and revolutionary act you can perform. Your gift is not a burden to be hidden, but a power to be governed. If these words have echoed in the core of your being and brought clarity to the signs you always felt but never knew how to name, know that you have already taken the first step towards awakening. Join our network to continue strengthening the avatar that dwells within you, and to walk alongside those who, like you, refuse to accept less than the profound truth of existence. The journey to mastery is your natural destiny. See you in the next video.